Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today's video is going to be my first video of the 2022 season reviews, and as I've done in previous years, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, and I'm looking to do at least one or two reviews a week, so stay tuned for your team's review. As we all know, West Tigers finished bottom of the table this year, so first on my list of reviews is the 2022 season of the West Tigers and me review of it. Coming into the season, I think a lot of people predicted West Tigers to come between 12th to 16th on the table. Some people had them as wooden spooners, but I think even West Tigers fans thought that they wouldn't come last this year. I thought that they would potentially finish anywhere between 8th to 12th place. I thought that from what I could see at the early stages of the year, West Tigers supporters were a bit excited with the addition of Jackson Hastings, the Man of Steel winner from the Super League, and a couple of other players that had signed for the club. So there was a bit of optimism going into the 2022 NRL season. Before the season began though, the club were dealt a major blow with Adam Dewey, or Dwehe, however you want to pronounce it. He was ruled out for the first 2 or 3 months of the season, and I consider Adam Dewey to be one of the West Tigers' best attacking weapons, so it was a major blow for the club going into that first couple of months without him. And with the West Tigers, they didn't get off to the best possible start when it come to the NRL season proper. They lost their first 5 matches in a row. In round 1, they looked competitive against Melbourne, but in most of the other games leading up to round 6, they were very poor and they were sat bottom of the table after the completion of 5 rounds. And there were already pressure on Michael Maguire and his position as West Tigers head coach. Until round 6, West Tigers pulled off one of the upsets of the season, beating Parramatta 21 points to 20 at Western Sydney Stadium there. Jackson Hastings getting the field goal to win the game. And then the following week in round 7, they beat South Sydney 23 points to 22, courtesy of another drop goal. And people were thinking West Tigers have turned the corner. Michael Maguire's got them playing the way that he wants them to play. The squad looks galvanised. This could be a real turning point in their year. But unfortunately, the club wouldn't win another match until round 11 when they beat Canterbury Bankstown 36 points to 22. The following week, after West Tigers were belted by South Sydney, the club finally sacked Michael Maguire. They were sat 15th on the table at the time, and he was replaced by interim head coach Brett Kamali. However, under Brett Kamali, things got worse for the West Tigers as opposed to being better. The club only won one further match for the rest of the year, and that were in round 20 against Brisbane up at Suncorp Stadium there. They won that 32 points to 18. So the West Tigers, towards the end of the year, were still a chance of avoiding the wooden spoon. There was a couple of teams below them, one of them being the Gold Coast. But what really, I think, sealed West Tigers' fate for the wooden spoon were when they played against Eastern Suburbs, aka the Sydney Roosters, in round 23 at the City Creek ground. They were beaten 72 points to 6, which majorly messed up their for and against for the rest of the year. It were the West Tigers' biggest loss in their club history since 2000, and it was Eastern Suburbs' biggest win for them in a game since 1935. The following week, the club were dealt another massive blow when they lost 24 points to 22 against St George, and that pretty much condemned them to the wooden spoon. Mathematically, they could have still avoided it, but especially after their final match of the year at Leichhardt Oval, where they were belted 56 points to 10 by Canberra, they were given the wooden spoon, the first in their club history. Looking back at the season for West Tigers, there's a lot that went wrong for them. First thing, injuries. I know that that's not an excuse most of the time, but at certain times of the year they were out without Adam Dewey, Jackson Hastings, Stefano Idakamanu, Alex Twal, and a few other players were also injured, which didn't help the roster, and it really tested the depth of the West Tigers in 2022. The highest point scorer for the West Tigers in 2022 was Adam Dewey, which shows how bad they were Attack-wise, they had the worst attack in the competition. He scored 52 points to be the club's top point scorer for the year. And the highest try scorer went to Ken Mamalo with 12 tries. If I was to choose their best win of the season out of the 4 matches that they did win, a lot of people would probably say round 6 against Parramatta, but I'd actually say round 20 against Brisbane. They were given no chance against Brisbane up there at Suncorp, and I think at that stage they lost about 6 or 7 matches in a row. Things were looking very bleak for the West Tigers, and they ended up pulling off a really good win up there at Suncorp Stadium. Shocked a lot of people, and I think it was a great team effort from the club. I'm of the belief, and I've said it for quite a few years now, that the West Tigers are the worst run club in the NRL, and they have the worst recruitment and retention policy as well. There was a couple of baffling decisions that were made this year, especially the 5 captains at the start of the season. They had 5 captains, it makes no sense whatsoever. They even had Ken Mamalo as a captain, and he's on the wing. There was Justin Pascoe, or as Fergo from Fergo and the Freak likes to call him, Mr. Potato Head. He went on holiday when they were in the middle of a crisis, when they lost 5 matches in a row. But funnily enough, they actually got better when he was away on holiday, so figure that one out for yourselves. Another baffling decision that the club made were sort of towards the end of the year, when they were struggling to avoid the wooden spoon. The club, in their infinite wisdom, decided to send out Oliver Gildart and David Nofaluma on loan. When you're in a wooden spoon scrap and you're trying to avoid the wooden spoon, you need all hands on deck. You need all the players there, and for some reason, they let both of them players go on loan, which is absolutely baffling to me. As for next season, the club has made 2 good signings. The first one being Apisai Coruscant, who some people see as the best number 9 in the NRL, and Isaiah Papali'i from Parramatta, but there's been talks that he wants to renege on his deal. One massive blow going into next year as well is that they're not going to have Luke Garner. I think that Luke Garner is a very good player. He's going to Penrith. I think since he's been at West Tigers, he's been one of their best players in his tenure there. And also, Jock Madden has signed with Brisbane, so they're going to be without him for next year. Tim Sheens is going to be the head coach going into next season. Obviously, he's the best coach in West Tigers history. Won the Premiership in 2005. One of the best coaches of the modern era. Can he turn West Tigers around? I'm unsure. And then, from what I've read, in the future, Benji Marshall's going to be taking over the top job at West Tigers. But as I've said in the past, West Tigers, they're the worst run club in the NRL. These type of things don't fix overnight, and they really have to fix that retention and recruitment policy as well, because that has hurt them a lot over the years. The great Jack Gibson once said, and I don't know the exact quote word for word, but he said something like, a good club or a successful club, it starts at the front office. And as I've just said, the West Tigers, they need to get that front office in order. They have to make some decisions behind the scenes, and they have to get the club back on track, because next year it's going to be 12 years without finals. They've got the longest finals drought in the NRL era, in the history of the NRL era. But anyways, everyone, that's me video tonight on the West Tigers season review for 2022. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the West Tigers season, and if I missed out, let me know in that comment section below. This has been Rugby League History. Thanks for tuning in. I got more videos to come. I've got the View from the North podcast tomorrow, 8 PM on Just Rugby League's channel. Stay tuned. I'll catch us all later, everyone. Tatty bye for now.